Joe Cole and Owen Hargreaves watching with me in the studio. And Joe, a off night for Barcelona tonight, or are you giving the credit to Dortmund?
No, all the credit goes to Dortmund. From Barcelona's perspective, the Frauties that I saw, I think a Fraut was going to be, and for these young lads in the Barcelona team, who I think will go very, very close and maybe win the Champions League next year or the year after. I think that what they'll learn from this is how European football can flip between the legs. You know, you're 4-0 up, you're strolling, it's only half time, and a goal can change, teams can change. We've been there, and it's something that you have to manage. And we've seen it in the other game as well, where PSG nicked that last third goal, you know, and then that just changed the dynamics of the game. If they wouldn't have got that last week, Villa would probably still be playing tonight and maybe into the semi-finals, you know. So young players will learn a lot from tonight. I think Szczesny showed a little bit of a rashness early on. I think me and Owen were saying Ter Stegen comes back in for the semi-final. That strengthens them. I still think that Inter Milan or Bayern Munich playing this team in the semi-final would win the game.
Well, let's have a look at how it all started, because Dortmund caused them problems, didn't they? From the beginning of the match, Owen, Guirassy having some chances, but the opening goal came from a Szczesny mistake.
Yeah, Pascal Gross does brilliantly. Makes that late midfield run. They're trying to play offside there. That's, I mean, seems mad, but that's how they do it. Szczesny comes off his line, he's really late, and gives away the penalty. And then I think that pretty much opened the floodgates, really, for Dortmund. To be fair, when you need a goal, you don't think you're going to do that, Lindsay. I mean, there's a Panenka and there's a Panenka. They just...
Given what's at stake, that is bold.
I mean, he's been absolutely amazing in this competition, a goal-scoring machine, especially against Barcelona. But I think for the fans, once they got the first one, then you start to think, you know, can we get a second? And once you get a second, then everybody starts to think, whoa, you know, we could be onto something here.
It gave the fans a bit of a belief, didn't it? And they were attacking the yellow wall in the second half, which also got off to the perfect start from a corner, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, again, attacking the yellow wall. Like Owen said, it's a fantastic place to play your football. It's sort of like the Cop, where they're willing it into the goal. A deep ball at the back. Guirassy, you know, he does what... If you look at him here, he goes for the front post and then he switches on, like all good strikers, gets in that position of maximum opportunity at the far post, just pops it in. And that place would have been rocking and rolling then at that point, you know, and Barcelona's would have had certainly jitters. It's a good set piece. He keeps it alive there, you know, and he just tucks it away at the far post. And look at him. We all believe now we're going to see one of the big... We did see a great European night, but we thought at that time we're going to see one of the great European comebacks.
Yeah, you felt it was on at that point, but Barca regained their 3-goal lead. But they didn't actually score tonight, which is an achievement in itself for Dortmund.
No, but to be fair, they started to get a bit more hold of the game when Pedri came on, and you see Benzabeni there, played as a left-sided centre-back in the 3, and he did brilliant, actually, over the two ties. But here he's just... He's onside, obviously, but I don't know how he kicks it into his own goal, to be fair. It's a brilliant finish, but the problem is he's a defender and it goes in his own goal. But I think Pedri came on and gave him a little bit more control. They got higher up the pitch. Fermin crosses it. Benzabeni just makes a mess of that.
What's he would do there? He's there too late. You need to sprint there, and as the sprint's coming to the end, you can see it's going to cross. You've got to start turning your body and rotating, and then you can clear it. Even if it's your weak foot, he's just too late. He switches off and he got punished.
But then Guirassy completed his hat-trick, becoming the top scorer in the Champions League this season with his 13th goal, overtaking Rafinha.
Yeah, and what about Durandal? Came off the bench. Does brilliantly here. I love this. 2v1. Whoop, shift, see you later. That is lovely. Really, really good. And to be fair, Rahul makes a mess of it. But a brilliant finish from Guirassy. And you think, obviously, Rafinha was top scorer, Lewandowski's second. I think there'll be a lot of teams looking at Guirassy. He's got all those goals at Stuttgart, now at Dortmund. Yeah. Big physical presence, natural goal scorer. Clocked onto it, and that's a great strike.
Yeah, and Raquel, again, similar thing, isn't it? Like, as the ball's coming across for all young defenders watching there, you've got to open your body up, and you clear, even if you're off balance, just get it high. If you put it straight back in, it's the worst place you can put it.
He hits it with his right, doesn't he? He's right-footed, so he's gone safe, but actually, you should probably clear it with his left. Yeah. Because then it kind of... You can clear your lines. Once it's low, I think Guirassy does brilliant to pounce on it.
The 5th player to score a Champions League hat-trick against Barcelona. The first one, someone I'm a big fan of.
Shearer?
Tino was
Tino, oh, yeah, of course,
Tino was free.
Yeah,
And then she'd have to
What a player he was.
she has to get Newcastle in at some point on Champions. You're not in the Champions League.
Still got
season,
great
Joe,
memories
leave
of
it.
that
Okay,
performance.
okay.
Shevchenko, Mbappe and Pavlidis just this season for
And Tino.
Benfica as
What
well.
Tino?
And Tino was the first, so there you go, the fifth player. But that puts him top of the charts. I guess the frustrating thing for him, Owen, and for Dortmund is that he could have even more this season in the Champions League, and just wishes that he'd taken some of those chances in the first leg, because that could have been the difference.
Yeah, he had a couple. He had a couple sitters, really. And you have to credit Dortmund. You know, they created a lot of good chances over the two ties. And we said Barca play this way for a reason. They played that high line, and teams are going to create chances against them. But I don't think Hansi Flick really cares, because they score so many goals going the other way. And obviously, Joel's right. They looked a little bit vulnerable today. And I think looking at the semi-final, I think teams will look at that and think, right, we can get at this defence.
Barcelona are through to the semi-finals of the Champions League, but their 24-game unbeaten run was ended by Dortmund tonight, who put up a real fight, and Pascal Gross played extremely well in a great performance for the Black and Yellows. We can hear from him with Emma Dodds.
Well, Pascal, commiserations on the overall result of the tie. It was an almighty effort from the Dortmund team, though. How do you sum up your emotions just now?
Yeah, we knew we had a tough result from the away game, but I think we came here full of hope, because we know in this stadium is everything possible. We knew we need an early goal, and we need to fight and play forward, be brave. And I think we did all of that. We had momentums, we had a couple of sides, like always, against that high line. But I think we played really well. And yeah, the own goal was a little bit unfortunate, killed a little bit the momentum, but we still kept going, scored the third one. And yeah, in the end, we had a couple half chances to score the fourth one. We believed until the last second. The stadium did. You felt the fans did. In the end, we out because of the game away. But it was a good performance today.
Talk us through the penalty incident. You mentioned there that you wanted to get the early goal, and you were obviously key to winning that.
Yes, I tried to get in front of him. I know he's going down. I tried to put my body between the ball and the keeper, and I think I did. You never know if you're offside with them, but I wasn't, so I knew straight away it will be a penalty.
What were the conversations that were had amongst the players after the first leg heading into this tie?
Yeah, we knew we didn't play well there. We played poor. We conceded too many goals probably, but from when we watch it back, quite simple mistakes, quite stuff we can, we don't need to concede, and on that level you get punished, and we need to do that much better, much braver, help each other more, but also attack their high line, not always with the first wave, maybe with the second wave when they stop, and we did all that, but yeah, it was not enough today, but today was a good game.
Commiserations. Thank you for talking.
Thank you very much.
Well, they put up such a good fight. Barcelona always had that 2-goal cushion following such a dominant performance in the first leg. But that Barca high line, it was mentioned throughout the commentary there. Dortmund really were able to try and take advantage of it several times, so just couldn't take the opportunities.
I mean, any time you get time on the ball, like too much distance there for Adeyemi, they're facing their goal, and they're in trouble because there's runners coming from everywhere. Listen, Hansi Flick's won the Champions League doing this. He believes in it. It's his way of playing. He's not going to change here. Look, as soon as there's at your feet, left foot. Look at their body language, the body shape, the Barcelona back four. They know they're going to run and a race. If it's a good ball, no matter how fast you are, Owen, or how good positioning you are, it's difficult to do. It's a hard night's work for them.
Yeah, I mean, you look how high they are. You know, I've been in there as a fullback, and you're looking across the line thinking, are we onside, are we not? They must do this in training every day, because they do it brilliantly. Obviously, there's a lot of risk with it, but they're committed to this, Lynn. They did it from the first minute where they conceded the pen. You know, they did it towards the end when I think Brandt scores here, and that offside line, that's why they didn't score that goal. But you look at this, Linz, I mean, they've played teams offside 257 times. Look at the next team, Lindsay.
Yeah. They are miles ahead, aren't they?
That is that's out of this world. And the thing is, if they win the Champions League again, like he did with Bayern, you can guarantee every coach is going to start copying this. Okay, it's high risk, but it's high reward. They're the highest scorers, you know, in the top 5.
It's how you execute it.
And it is. And the thing is, when you play top teams, you know, you'd think you'd get late midfield runners, or you get people bending their runs. but they must practice it so much that they seem to get it right. I think Martin came in at left back. He looked like he struggled a bit. When Balder comes back in and ter Stegen's back in, I think they might have it down a little bit better. But look, high risk, high reward. Hansi Flick's been here and done this before. I think he believes this group, they can get it done. They just have to execute on the night.
But if you think about it being Inter or Bayern Munich next, Joel, how would they be looking to exploit that?
Well,
and could they do a lot more damage than Borussia Dortmund?
I think they can do a lot more damage than Borussia Dortmund. I think what having ter Stegen come in, recruitment when you play this way, right? So Szczesny's coming in because they've had an injury crisis, and for the first goal, your goalkeeper has to be quick off his line. Because if the high line's high, the goalkeeper's position is then 5-10 yards up. That's why they got caught out there, and that sort of sparked the game into life. I think ter Stegen plays tonight. I think he's in a better position. He comes and takes it, or he certainly doesn't lunge in. Listen, how do you get past it? Talking to Owen off air, I think you play with your centre forward just off the back of Barcelona's back four, and then you go with like 4 midfielders in behind them, and they have to be runners, and they have to time in. If you go over back 3 or 2 in the midfield or a 4, anytime you go good possession and they get the ball and they're in any kind of space, got to be looked up and it's got to be fed into and you have to have 4 runners. They have to go like in that clip there with Brandt. It has to come from midfield. You bend your run, and if you do, and you have to work on it. Listen, whoever they play has to work on it weeks before the game and do it as well as you can. But they are superb at what they do. That's why they're where they are. But it's still risky. What
about for Inter playing with those 2 up top, Thuram and Martinez? Because they're so dangerous, Owen, aren't they? And were in that first leg against Bayern Munich, take that 2-1 lead into the second leg.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, both goals they scored were amazing, Lindsay. Both started from the goalkeeper. How about that for a set from Thuram into Martinez? I mean, that is ridiculous. To do that with the outside of your foot in a Champions League quarter-final. I mean, Thomas Muller did brilliant. Comes on, just finds space like he always does. He's just a master of just sitting in a little pocket of space. Good finish. That's 1-1. You think, oh, it's game on. And then Inter scored a brilliant goal. Really is. Again, from the keeper, rolls it out to Barella. How about that for a cutback, and for Tazy with a brilliant goal. I mean, whoever plays Barca in this semi-final, it's going to be a heck of a game because both teams have brilliant attacking players and they're going to create chances. But I think, again, you'll see Barca commit to this. The high line, the front 3, Pedri will be back in, ter Stegen will be back in, Martinez will probably be back in for Araujo, and they'll probably be a little bit more solid.